Assalamualaikum and very good morning to you guys. My name is Akmal Fiti with my fellow friend. We're gonna share to you guys about aircraft damage, causes and effect. I would like to let you imagine large planes, helicopters and even single engine planes crashing from some of damage or other contributing factors that happen on the plane. You might probably aware that the aftermath can be catastrophic or some instant fatal. To be able to understand the various causes and those aircraft damage and the long-term effect can be important, especially considering the legal implication involved. There are a few of the potential causes that may arise. To learn more about these causes and effect, stay with us. First and the foremost, one of the most common ways an aircraft damage occurs is through engine failure. This means something goes wrong with the aircraft engines, causing the pilot to lose control and the altitude start to drop drastically as the plane or helicopter cannot longer fly properly. Engine failure can result from a number of different things, such as a failure to properly maintain, manufacture error, wear and tear, even a design flaw, and more. Inspection are imperative to ensuring aircraft are safe before even taking off for a flight.
Hi, my name is Rajesh Haslan. The second cause and effect is manufacturing error. First point is aircraft maintenance negligence. While an aircraft design defect or manufacturing defect can easily lead to a crash, improper maintenance of the aircraft can be just as deadline. A recent trend in searching and hiring low-cost aircraft maintenance providers who may not necessarily be properly trained or experienced in servicing center type of aircraft has made aircraft maintenance negligence a very real safety issue that has contributed to multi-accident. Second point is trustworthiness. Not very crash should cause severe injury and death. No product liability investigating is complete until answers are found to this question. How did the people on board the aircraft actually suffer the injury? In many cases, to the force of the crash alone will not or should not have been suffered to cause the injury suffered. The road investigation may well lead to the conclusion that the crash itself was survivable, but design of manufacturing defect were the reason that tragedy was the outcome. Next. The third cause and effect is weather. Turbulence. Turbulence is associated with convective activity. For example, thunderstorm, tornado, for example, the movement of the air masses over mountain, jet streams, and interaction between air masses, for example, polar front, and associated dynamic can be significant enough to cause structural damage to aircraft. Second point is icing. Icing formation of aircraft can alter the aerodynamic characteristics of the aircraft and cause damage to or loss of function of the engine and seriously affect the performance of the aircraft. Ice may form on aircraft while there are the ground pure supply, and this must be removed, and any future acceleration on the airframe revert by aircraft grounding or anti-icing, so that many aircraft is free of ice deposit at the point at which is great airborne. Third point is lightning. A lightning strike can be very distressing. to passenger and crew, but physical damage to an aircraft only very rare threaten the safety of an aircraft. The fourth point is loss of control. Commonly as a direct or indirect result of turbulent or wind shear surge, as might be experienced in an unintentional pressure to active cumulonimbus CB cloud or the encounter with microbursts or because of explosions to in-flight IC, which extend the capacity of the available or select aircraft ice protection system. And
Sistem. Hi, my name is Muhammad Hanif Sidarto. Now I can discuss the system malfunction. The console inside an aircraft play a crucial role in not only getting passengers from point A to point B, but also in ensuring that the trip is safe for all parties involved. The system help to control include speed, width, traffic control, and more. Okay. System malfunction. Malfunction means any sudden, infrequent, and not reasonably preventable failure of pollution control equipment, process equipment, or a process to operate in a normal or user manner. Failure that are caused in part by poor maintenance of careless operation are not malfunction. Okay, downtime means a period of time during which production system processing for the service has stopped and all of your users are unable to use all aspects of the service for which they have to provide permission. By way of clarification, there is no downtime if any use can use any aspect of the service for which they have a provide permission. Downtime does not include the period of time when the service is not available as a result of plumbing system. Mean the water supply and distribution, pipes, plumbing, filter and trips, salt, waste and vent pipe, sanitary and storm sewer and building drains, including their respective connection device and appurtenances within the premise and water testing equipment. Next, pilot error. Generally refer to an accident in which an action or decision made by the pilot was the cause of or a contributing factor that led to the accident, but also include the pilot's failure to make a correct decision or take proper action. Error is intention action that fall to achieve the intended outcomes. Chicago Convention define accident as an occurrences associated with the operation of an aircraft in which a person is fatally or seriously injured, except when the injured are inflicted by other person. Hence, the definition of the pilot error does not include deliberate crash, and crash is not an accident.
My name is Muhammad Syami, and for number 6 is communication errors. Okay, first number point is careless of the workers. This accident may be occurred because of the careless of the worker due to physical tired. When we are in tired form, we may be not focused on what we are doing. Okay, for the second point is improper trained worker. The workers are not properly trained from the academy or so whatsoever. They may forgot how to communicate procedure to the pilot before taking a flight. Okay. For the third point is lack of communication. When pilot takes to the sky, they do so with guidance from air traffic control. This is to ensure that their flight path is safe. Inclement weather is avoided and there are no other aircraft crossing paths that could result in air collision. Collisions are not very common, but the lack of communication with air traffic control often leads many pilots to require emergency landings or encountering dangerous situation mid-flight. It's important for communication protocol to be set forth. Okay. For the number 7 is mechanical failure. For the first point is engine and power plant failures. Whether the aircraft is private plane and airliner owned by a large company or even a government-issued aircraft, there are currently inspection and maintenance requirements that must be met before and taking flight. These inspection and maintenance checks are designed to ensure that all trouble areas are properly attended to in order to prevent any larger issues occurring and prevent the plane from crashing. Failure to maintain properly can be act of negligence that can put all parties aboard the aircraft at risk. Depending on the situation and the owner of the aircraft, the parties responsible for maintenance can include the pilot, a mechanic, and outside third party, or the company as well, as whole. These parties may be held liable if an aviation accident occurs as a result of the failure to properly maintain. For the second thing is fuel system failures. The power plant is part of the aircraft engine that convert air into thrust. Some airplanes use a piston engine or turboprop in conjunction with a propeller to generate thrust, while jet use turbine engines. When the power plant stops working, the engines of the aircraft may fail. Potential issues with the power plant may include the propeller or turbine stop rotating. For the second thing is the turbine or propeller is damaged and air leak in the engine decrease performance of the power plant. As with the many scenarios in aviation, both the maintenance of the aircraft and its operation by the crew are crucial for ensuring the proper function of the power plant and engine. Okay, for the third point is fuel system failures. Like with any vehicle, aircraft engine need fuel to operate. Multiple issues may affect the fuel system, including the leaking fuel, failure of the fuel pump, and more. Sadly, it is not uncommon for aviation accident to happen because the aircraft runs out of fuel. Errors on the part of the pilot crew may be blamed for the such glaring oversight, but it is also important not to overlook less obvious causes such as malfunctioning fuel gauges. For the fourth thing is landing gear failures. Malfunction landing gear can spell disaster for aircraft on takeoff and landing. A host of issues may cause the landing gear to fail, including wear and tear on the wheels, tire, exhaust, and other parts. Leaking hydraulic part. Second, damage of malfunctioning hydraulics. Third is malfunction in the locking mechanism. And fourth is the jamming of the wheel. Human error may cause of exacerbate the failure of an aircraft landing gear. Pilots are trained to how to employ landing gear when taxiing, taking off, and landing. Mistakes during any of this process can increase the risk of the accidents. Okay, for the fifth is the instrument failures. The instrument of an aircraft relay critical information to the pilot and flight crew, although errors in looking at the instrument, such as a failure to check speed, elevation, fuel and oil levels, and many more, are common issues in aviation. Accident, failure, and malfunctions of the instrument themselves may be a factor as well. In many cases, malfunctioning instrument creates a vicious circle that ends in a tragedy. Fault leading may cause the pilot and crew to take improper action in the course of the flight. Acting on inaccurate information can then lead to the additional mechanical failures, such as stop engines, which in turn can lead to the accident. Some operations on aircraft, meanwhile, are automated by in-flight computers, flaws in software that monitor and even control functions such as speed, angle, flap position, and more may cause the aircraft to make sudden violence correction that can injure injured passenger and in extreme cases cause the aircraft to crash. Okay, for the next is failure of the structure of the aircraft. The design and manufacturing of aircraft are subject to a wide range of federal regulation. The fuselage, landing gear, wings, empennage, and other components must meet rigorous standards of airworthiness. Unfortunately, errors in designing in the aircraft, the manufacturing of its part, and the assembly of the crash can result in the structural weaknesses and decreased performance. Left unchecked, this problem can increase the risk of accident, affecting multiple units in a family of aircraft. One of the extreme consequences associated with the failure of or damage to the structure of the aircraft is uncontrolled decompression. Decompression is of the cabin and occurs suddenly or gradually. The loss of the pressure can limit the oxygen in the cabin, potentially resulting in brain injury and loss of consciousness. If the flight crew is rendered unconscious, the aircraft may crash. Okay, for the last part is the example of mechanical failure. Equipment failed account for about 20% of aviation crashes. This can be anything from engine failure to poor repairs. For example, a government investigation body deemed to crash of Japan Airline Flight 123 in 1985 to be the result of the improper repairs by Boeing Corporation on the plane's pressure bulkhead. Improvement in the design manufacturing have many planes much more reliable in this day and age. Nonetheless, equipment and or mechanical failures still happen. Okay, that's all. For the next slide is the conclusion. Okay, for the conclusion is the all systems are important to ensure passenger safety. As we know, the aircraft are the most safest transport because of the maintenance. Is in accident occurred, there are people with traumatized because of the accident of the family members or whatsoever. That's why we must prevent before the accident occurred. We must responsible all our work we make by our tagline is your safety is our priority. Okay, that's all from us, and have a nice day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.